Hey, good afternoon. Sorry I started a little late. This is my channel is the Underrated Darkness. Underrated Darkness. Yours truly, the Underrated. I got you. Let me say the guys making funny. Good afternoon. Channel's the Underrated Darkness. Yours truly, the number one grinder. One of the best kept secrets on YouTube. The best of the business. Putting it down. This is the Underrated Boxing Talk. Can't believe that, but it is number 34. Me and the brothers going to chop it up on boxing. You never know, you might have some surprise. After this intro, be back.
What y'all thought y'all wasn't gonna see me? I'm the Osiris of this shit. Check this out. Perfect. Champion, the way of the warrior, champion eyes, get back up, my spirit cries.
But you're a well-rounded warrior. You keep on fighting. That's what I am. Well-rounded warrior. I say for me, I've been passed over my family, my fans, so-called family, some so-called family members, some friends, and etc. Pass over me. They feel that I'm not even there, and I used to accept it as I'm gonna prove something to you. Nah, that I have to understand when I get older is what I am. And I have to understand that when I'm moving of a certain space of my life to strive to do better, not that many people are going to understand your vision. Not many people is refused to understand the growth of your vision, of your self-vision. The growth of your vision help some. Hey, welcome again. This is the Underrated Boxing Talk number 34. Yours truly, the number one grinder. Let me read this out before I'm gonna plug in Clarence McClain. Come and read them. Read this. Come and enjoy a real conversation with the number one grinder. Us as the righteous ones individually. Let's make a change. Within ourselves and generally be there for each other. We all we got. Better understand that, family. We all we got. So we gonna let me get this off a little bit. Take this off. Okay. Eyes love to talk. I haven't seen you in a while. So we gonna hit this boom, boom, bang. The one and only Clarence McClain. Show the intro. Okay. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Out. There you go. Out. Done. That's how you put it down. What's going on, brother? How you feel? Unmute your mic.
I was gonna say I can't complain, but then why complain? Everything's good.
That's good. Welcome back. This is the Underrated Boxing Talk number 34.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. I invite some other people to come on. Hope they get on and everything. So, but we're gonna start off right now. Peace to you and your family. Brother McLean did a special live on Facebook, McLean Production. After this over, I want y'all to go check it out. Cause we talk about special things about Giovanni Tank Davis, better known as Tank, and he was victorious over Barrios, and so we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about some other fights, and maybe we're gonna squeeze in some dream matches. You never know what you see on here. But let's talk about Tank Davis. Let's continue this conversation that we was having like about I said about 40 minutes ago, and tell the
Yeah.
people what we was talking about. Tank.
Um, Basically, what is it that Tank needs to do to get the recognition that he needs to get? Um, when he fought Mario Barris, oh, excuse me, I'm gonna take it back a little further than that. After him beating Leo Santa Cruz, him right then and there, he ended up on my pound for pound list. Some people said, no, well, it's too early. Let's see him have a couple of more fights. So, okay. So now the Mario Barris fight's coming. And mind you, it's not like Mario's 130, 135, he's 140. So he basically went into somebody else's backyard to prove that he was the best. And he won in a fashion I didn't think he was going to win it. It's not that I didn't think Tank was going to win. I just didn't think he was going to win that way. That was very impressive. But the whole thing we were talking about is Tank is special, but how special is he? You know what I mean? And is it going to take for him to fight the bigger guys at 140, which he already took one of the top guys out? What else does he have to do to get the respect that he deserves? Now, some people will sit there and say, well, what are you talking about, McLean? Tank already does have the respect. Not from everybody. There's actually some people who are not going to be satisfied until he gets in there and he loses, because sometimes when you are a hater, it's not a hater's job to see a fighter that's liked to win all the time. They pray for your downfalls and they hoping, hey, just one more, we need just one guy to go in there and do this and do that to him, and then they'll be happy. Kind of like with the Wilder situation, everybody didn't want to see him on the top. So when Fury beat him, oh man, a lot of people were pleased, But Tank is very special. We don't know if there'll ever be anyone like him. He's still young and he still has a lot more years left in his career. But it's like I said, it takes a lot to beat this kid. He's very talented. He's very athletic. And when he's in there, he's not so much showboating when he's in that ring. He's having a good time. He's enjoying himself. But also at the same time, he's in there to get the job done. And as far as pound for pound, after him beating Mario, if I had a top five, I tell you what, if there's a top five, I have Earl on there, and I'll probably have Tank Davis right after him. I can't hear you, Underrated.
Yeah, somebody in the chat talking super. Somebody need to get them on.
You said somebody's talking what?
Talking stupid on the chat.
About what?
Some fool talking about you talking in circles. Also, fake ass in. Regardless, how you doing? Eyes love to talk. Yeah,
Well, we ain't worried about no hater. Obviously, we talking something good because they in here looking. So whoever that is, they can go jerk off.
yeah. No. So I love to talk. Thanks for coming. The Goddess TV. Thanks for coming. Appreciate that.
Salute. Trolls, we need y'all to keep on supporting us. Thank you, trolls.
Yeah.
The trolls don't realize they really help us. They the ones that really help us grow. So salute to all the trolls. But yeah, that's how special he is. And I'm really more or less interested in him and Regis program. Hopefully they can get that on next. If
Mhm.
there's possibility, if Tank doesn't come back to 135.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much y'all what we were conversating about on my channel.
That's true. Yeah. So let's talk about Shakur Stevenson.
All right, Shakur, what's up? Newark, New Jersey, man. My man Shakur, man. Shout out to Shakur Stevenson. Shout out to probably one of the greatest coaches too to have too, Willie Moses, man. Like I said before, I met both of those gentlemen. They're good guys. Oh man. Oh no, something happened, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna have to stay on and cook. I'll cook for him while he's gone. So Shakur Stevenson and Willie Moses. Well, Shakur. Shakur, like Tank, very athletic, speed, um, has power. Um, I think he's another one of those that everybody's avoiding. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, Eyes? What's up? Eyes love to talk. What's up? Salute. Salute. Yeah, underrated. He's gonna be back. Something happened. He dropped out. But anyway, he'll be back. So yeah, Shakur, another one of those that people are avoiding.
Mhm.
I was cooking. Listen, I already knew you had something went wrong. I was cooking for you while you were gone.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, another, just like Tank, Shakur is another one that they are avoiding. Um, they're trying not to mention his name. They're trying to act like he doesn't exist. They're trying to dance around him. Um, Jamel Herring, I believe him and Shakur are supposed to get it on. Shakur even wanted Valdez, but maybe Valdez will end up having to wait for the winner out of Shakur and Jamel. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, like I said, like Tank, Stevenson is very special. Uh, great kid, great smile, and talented as hell. I just don't want him to be a young fighter who has to sit around and waiting for a good fight to come through because eventually he'll have to leave 130 if nothing works. Just like we spoke about this earlier, if nothing happens at 130, he got to come to 135. And when he come to 135, don't get me wrong, it's talented at 130, not taking nothing away from 130, but it's just as much talented at 135. Having Ryan Garcia, Tiafimo, um, Lomachenko, uh, Tank if he, is a part of that. So it's definitely a lot of talent and a lot of fights out there. So if he can't get nothing at 130, then hey, he always has options, and he's young. And I think Shakur has 16, 17 fights in already. So Yeah, it's plenty of options. I just don't want him to be one of those fighters sitting around waiting for a fight to happen. What's up, y'all? Thanks for everybody for joining. Appreciate y'all. Salute. Bruce goes. Salute. Your camera all right, Underrated? Oh no, his thing.
What you say?
I see that our camera froze.
Your camera froze?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it froze.
Oh wow.
I don't know if we can hear each other, but I guess we should just keep cooking. I don't want to cook through a froze video though.
Oh, he said no sound. Said no sound. Hold on.
Oh shh.
Hold on. I'm going to reboot myself and come back. I'm back. I'm back. If anybody can hear me, press one. Anybody can hear me, press one. You can hear me, brother Clarence?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'll press one now. I
Okay.
don't know if anybody else is still in the chat though, but I just told them to hold on. All right, Bruce goes, press one. He pressed it.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay.
So yeah, okay, we good to go.
All right. So again, welcome back to my welcome back to the underrated boxing talk number 34. Little technical difficulties, you know how the devil works, but we got it done. We're gonna get it done. Let's go. Let's keep on doing it. The grind never stops and everything.
No,
So let's get it going. Keep on going, bro. Brother Bruce, I'm gonna send you the link right now, so watch out for it.
yeah, so like I was explaining, I just didn't want Shakur to be one of these brothers, these young brothers, or one of these young fighters who has to sit on the shelf and make something happen, or time after time he has to keep calling out a fighter's name and not getting no response because, like I said, he's another one of those guys that people are ducking. And you shouldn't have to wait around for something to happen. This is boxing. This is a brutal sport. This is a sport that you pick to do. And when it comes to it, you are supposed to fight the best. So when I see people like Shakur get avoided, or guys like Gary Russell get avoided, or a female boxer like Carissa Shields get avoided, it just breaks my heart because these people, bust their ass in the gym. And and it's so crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't have a problem taking money fights, but they have a problem taking real fights.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, we fight for money. We fight for legacy. Whatever. We fight for our country, or we fight for our family to put food on the table. But it's like it'd be crazy. People though they don't have a problem. Oh, what's that? You had a little echo in the back.
No, God fix it.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, people don't have a problem fighting for the money, but they have a problem fighting big fights. You know what I mean? Like everybody just wants to get in for the money. Or I don't know. It's just crazy. But I understanding this more and more. This is how it works, man. It's a business.
Yep, it is. It really is. So, well, oh, brother Grace, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming. Very much appreciate your busy time to support this. Yeah, so, but it's all about money these days. It's not about morals. It's not about nothing. Like we was talking about, the fighters was like want to fight. These they want to fight one time out of the year. You should fight 2, 3 times, especially. I mean, 2 times at least if you're young. We want to see the best fights, but the mindset is much more different back then than now. Back then, it wasn't making no millions of dollars. They wasn't even making thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
There was, especially the black fight, he was making pennies. And we have to fight. We have to fight just the matter of fact to be just in existence. There are some that like Kid Gavin, he was with the mob, so he had to fight for pennies. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Some people, and these fighters, they fail to understand that. The black fighter is the standard of boxing. Yeah. Not taking away them other ethnic groups, but we always been the standard of boxing, and it needs to be shown respect more.
Yeah, absolutely, but like I said, I say it time and time again, man. This business it's funny and it's shady, but as funny as shady it might be, it's still a great business, and I still love it. This is boxing is my sport. I love it. I love it. I love it with a passion. I love getting on here, talking about it, and it's not about getting on here, knowing every damn thing. Like you have to be a genius, because some people know more than others. Mm-hmm. But the politics, the old media, it's a lot of shit you got to deal with. And there's certain things that old media just don't want to hear. I mean, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. New media is not too crazy about old media, and old media is not too crazy about new media. What the hell? It's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation.
Yeah, it is, and so the thing about that's why we have to engage in these conversations. We have to really engage, because now we see the promoters now. I mean, promoters been taking over, but we see now the promoters now, they are getting jealous of what the fighters is getting right now. And then they want to be more in hand, and it's getting too much that I think that the fighter have to do. I think the fighter had to promote his own brand, and they have to create their own company. That's why we have so much respect for PBC, because they can talk about him if they want, but he do take care of the fight, take care of the fighters. And that's what Muhammad Ali, when he was fighting, that's what he wanted to do. Make sure the fighters been taken care of. That's why he created a Top Rank. And I think that's the point that we failed to understand, that to take care of the fighter. You know, they had more saying and everything. To be more equipped of finance, to know the business and stuff. Because even back then, as we know, they didn't really know they just know how to fight. But it wasn't really highly no black promoters, except Brother Wiley.
Yeah,
That's the trainer. That's the trainer that also trained one of the greats, one of the great trainer ever. I mean, he's the greatest trainer ever. But also he also promote other fighters too, and he was successful with it too. So, but it wasn't that many was around that time too. So no, so we gotta put some respect on that too. So
yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I totally agree. But in this sport, you have to expect the unexpected.
hmm
You know, you never know what you're gonna get. Every day, when I look at my phone, or when I'm just looking up something, I don't know what to expect, man. Because in this sport, every day something changes.
right,
Every day something changes. So in this sport, right, or just in life in general, nothing ever stays the same.
right.
Nothing stays the same. But every time when I look at my phone and I look at my group, something changes. If a fight was set for the day, it might get canceled in a couple of days because somebody hurt their back in training. Somebody caught the COVID, because that I feel like that's going to be an excuse for the next 2 years. Everybody got COVID, and the damn COVID don't even exist anymore in the next 2 years or the next year. It's always something, or somebody's ducking somebody, or they try to gas our head up like they did with the Fury and AJ fight to make us think that that was going to happen. And they had been talking about that for what, 7, 8, 9 months, and gave us this date that didn't even exist, knowing that it wasn't going to happen on that date, man. You like I said, you wake up, you don't know what to expect. Sometimes boxing tells the truth, and sometimes it lies to you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah,
It's
that is. Yeah.
it's foul, but it is what it is. But the thing is, it's up to you to stick with it or to find something else to do when you can't take it anymore.
hmm Yeah, that's true. And also too that you have to love the sport that the ups and the downs. You gotta love the sport. And I know COVID has put a strain on boxing. All
Yeah,
facing boxing, put it all straight. So was it not enough media, not enough fighters, and right now they still take every precaution. They should, but you little by little we see like different places, different vendors has opened up now. So I think that we're going to get some good fights and everything, and it's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little time, to fill up the seats, and it's going to be. But I'm very happy that it's opened up because the ones that have vendors and everything, at least they can get, at least they can make some money now. I'm being happy about that. You know.
I am super excited. I'm just pissed it took this long.
hmm
Um, because being from New York, we have the two biggest venues in the city, probably one of the biggest venues in the world. No disrespect to any other venue in the world, but we already know Madison Square Garden is the venue of venues.
hmm
And the Barclays Center is like ranked number two because let's just, especially
hmm
for boxing. There's some fighters that's right here from Brooklyn that didn't even think that if I had a fight, I would be fighting in my borough. You know what I mean?
hmm
That's something big. But just to see it's coming back into the city and it's coming back into the venues. I'm like a kid with candy right now. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. I'm hoping for what I know, the Lomachenko into Fimo, for if that doesn't change, uh, Lopez Senior wants it. Yo, we got to get Lopez Senior on here, man. we're going to get Tifimo's pops up here. I don't know if we could pull that off, but we're going to try to pull it off. And maybe if we could pull it off, it could lead to getting his Lopez up here, because I'm Facebook friends with him, but I don't know if I can get him up here because he does interview for people, but I don't know. We're gonna try to see if we can. If we can't get him up here, we got to get Lopez Senior up here so we can talk with him. But I know, yeah, like I said, their fight is set for December at the Garden. So to see these venues open and to see people be able to go back to work to feed their families and all that, man. I love it, man. I just pray that we never have to go through a situation where everything has to get shut down again, man, because we can't afford another one right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, let me get this in. What's up, Curtis Anderson, our sugar in our community? What's going on, Curtis? He said,
Curtis Anderson, what is going on, my guy?
Yeah, man, he been. Let me, before I read it, he been on my channel a few times. He been on channel boxing, and also he been on music. So he's not a stranger. He's family. Let me read what he said. Harry, what?
I think when I first came on with you, you had him on, and I was able to get on and ask him some questions. I remember that. That was in the beginning when we first met.
Right, exactly. That's last year. Let me read this. Harry's right train, Ali Robinson and Armstrong. That's right. And he was the first Black Olympic coach. That's right. And we did talk about it too. And Curtis has to talk about it too. And he said and then also check this out, y'all. Now this is very unheard of. He been at the Garden at least 100 times.
Sugar, that's not fair. I live in New York, and I never even been to the Garden 100 times. See, that's that Jersey shit, man. Because he a Jersey.
He's a boxing historian, and he always, when he have time, he always want to come. I send you the link to your text, brother Sugar. If you want to get on, you are more than welcome.
Underrated. I'm gonna mute my mic for 1 second, and I just go ahead and cook. I'm just gonna mute it for 1 second.
One. Yeah, again, welcome to my channel, Underrated Darkness. This is the Underrated Boxing Talk. Yes, family, number 34. And I just want to salute everybody to the chat. Very much appreciate the Goddess TV eyes talked open. I'm sorry I messed it up, but thank y'all ladies to join the chat. And also we got Bruce Ghost in the building. He's traveling. And we talking about boxing. We talking about different things. And we might do the dream matches and stuff. So I supposed to do MMA talk this past Sunday, but it was like past July 4th. So I know people ain't gonna want to do nothing. So we're gonna do it this week. This coming Sunday. Instead of 7 o'clock, it's gonna be 6 o'clock because we got a whole lot of MMA we got to catch up. So I would advise y'all to watch out for that. Also, I want y'all to I did a live stream about Blackballed. I want y'all to check that out. Very much appreciate it. Put some comments on there, put some likes on it. That'd be greatly appreciated. And so my brother McLean, he's eating, man. He's supposed to like let me. Oh, that's right. He eat from my house because I did ate from his house. So I understand. I couldn't say.
Never mind me, y'all. I'm always picking out. That's just me.
Yeah. But yeah, but let me ask you a question. Before we continue, okay, here we go. The one and only, the Sugar. How you feel, brother? Welcome.
Underrated. It's been a minute, man. What's going on? And your guest, I don't know his name. What's his name?
Clarence McLean. You met him last year.
I remember. Yeah, Mr. McLean. What's going on, fellas? Hey, what's up, chat?
How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing pretty good, man. Taking it day by day, man. We're here to talk some boxing for a while before I, start my business again. But I was in the, I just went on YouTube. I saw you live talking boxing, so I had to, chime in,
Yeah. And we glad to have you because I know you're a busy man, and you know you always family here. You know that, so it's a pleasure to have the blessing of your presence here. We really appreciate that, bro.
Well, before
Yeah.
I start, I'm doing music stream on Stormy B, man. I need you because let me tell you something about Underrated, man.
Oh, come on.
I thought I knew music, and I know a lot, but this man blows me out the water, man. I was like, nah, I got to give you your flowers, man. Listen, I know funk bands, all that,
Hmm.
but when it comes to disco and funk and soul and all that, I'm into brass construction and mandrill. He can tell you, he can tell you the lead singers, the bass players. He, this dude is ridiculous, man. I'm like, you know what? Because Stormy was like, yo, I want you to do Beats by Sugar. That's the name of the show. And he said, what you gonna do? So I said, I'll think about something because I'm a hip hop historian. I love jazz, rock, all of that. I said to myself, I'm gonna get Underrated on, man. I'm gonna do it next Monday, Underrated. So leave that open, like in the
Okay.
afternoon. If you not, let me know if you're busy.
Okay.
Then we can talk about some funk bands from Ohio. But anyway, I just love talking boxing, man. I'm very lucky to have the pedigree that I have. I box, I train people. I did live in Harlem on 138 and 140th, Mr. McLean. I used to run with the NFL crew back in the day in the mid '80s, and then I moved to Queens, and I was running around with Supreme Team. But that was
Oh,
long time ago. But
Lord.
I became obsessed with New York. I became as a Jersey dude looking
Hmm.
at Studio 54 and the older kids, Touche and Clarence. I still remember their names. They used to force us to box as
Hmm.
little kids, to defend ourselves. And then they used to go home, and I'd be like, "Where y'all going?" And you see them with the high heel platform shoes and the Swedish knits. I don't know how old you are, but Underrated know what I'm talking about.
No,
Yes,
And
I do.
yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
okay, and I said, "Where y'all going?" "We going to Studio 54." I'm like, "What's that?" And you can see it on TV. Reggie Jackson and Diana Ross and Michael Jackson there was one night, and Sylvester Stallone. These was all the hot stars in the '70s. And
Hmm.
then they had the Paradise Garage, and then a dude from Newark, Miles Berger. He said, if they could have a scene like this in New York, we could have something like this in Jersey. Then he came up with Zanzibar. Now, Zanzibar was my era. But anyway, enough
Hmm.
about me, man. So what we talking about here?
Well, we talking about Tank Davis, how great he is, and what's your insight on that, please, bro?
Tank Davis showed me a lot, man. And I always said this to people that when you fight a tall fighter and a big fighter, you break him down by going to the body. But in the first 4 rounds, he was trying to get his range, and he was fighting at the wrong range. That's why he lost the first 4 rounds. But to his credit, he was being patient. But you can't do that because another fighter may not give up rounds. Like Barrios after the 5th round, he started fading. If he fights somebody, when he's a short fighter for that division, he has to fight on the inside like a Joe Frazier or Rocky Marciano or Mike Tyson. Remember, Mike Tyson used to out jab people that were 6'6". Mike is only 5'11". So his
Hmm.
timing but you see that body shot he hit Barrios with, that was the end game, man. He softened him up, then he went to the body, and Barrios never recovered. But Tank is a real good fighter, man. Real good fighter.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question before I bring Bruce on, and I want to get it from Clarence insight. After your insight, Clarence insight, and also, and I'm gonna bring on Brother Bruce, and we're gonna bring in insight. Why it is so? Tell the people why it is so important strategically that the boxer has to know what they're doing, the ins and outs of offensively and defensively fundamentals. Explain to people why, because you know why I'm asking that question, Brother Sugar, because there's some misconception. They look at athletes, they look at them at athletes, but when it comes to breakdown and roll over the shoulder, you know what I'm saying, and you not to fake your body, stuff like that. Explain to people why, and the others why it's so important that it's very period right now than on the past.
Well, boxing, people got it wrong about boxing. Boxing is a brutal sport, but it's also a science. The smarter, my father told me when I was 7 years old, he said the smartest fighters always win. He said when you look at the past, like great fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard, he said just take a look. Those guys be thinking in the ring. You know, you had Floyd Mayweather, who was probably the best thinker. You know, that's what Emmanuel Stewart said, and I believe him. No, because a smart fighter can neutralize a guy who hits hard, a guy that's fast, or anything. He can outthink him, and you can outthink. I seen Floyd beat people mentally. They used to complain, oh, he don't hit hard, and he's boring. He's boring because the fighter didn't know what to do. That's why that Manny Pacquiao fight didn't live up to expectations. That's all he did was outthink Manny. And people would say, oh, Manny quick, and Floyd gonna have problems. He hit hard, but any fighter could be neutralized. Pernell Whitaker did it to Chavez. He neutralized him. And Sugar Ray Robinson was just a mean SOB. He used to knock people out. He was a slugger trapped in a boxer's body. But look at Ali. Ali ruined Sonny Liston's reign. If it weren't for Ali, Sonny Liston would have been champion for another 10 years. Or George Foreman. George Foreman was 40-0 with 37 knockouts. And what happened when Ken Norton and Joe Frazier tried to go mano a mano with him? They was knocked out. Ali had to think. He came up with the rope-a-dope. So when you look at boxing history, it's the fighter. Like Roger Mayweather said, boxing is a thinking man's game. And that's the fundamentals of boxing. That's why they call boxing the sweet science.
That's good. Before I get to the question, we're going to introduce Brother Bruce Goals. Same question, but I'm going to introduce you. Welcome.
Hey, underrated. Pleasure to see you. Clarence, nice to see you. Brother Curtis Anderson, man. Good to see you, my brother. Hey, I was on the road, but today in my town in Bristol, it's the oldest 4th of July parade in the country, and there must be 1 million people in town today. And so I turned around, and it just finished, I guess. So I said, no, I'm not going to get involved in this traffic. And I come back, and you're cooking over here, man, cooking some boxing. Beautiful thing to do, man. I'm glad you sent me an invite, man. It's just a pleasure to be here, bro. So that's all I have to. I just want to say hello that way.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to see. Always a pleasure to have you.
What's the question, bro?
The question is, well, I'm gonna say it in a different way. Why the fighters of today is not taking advantage of offensively and defensively working on fundamentals?
I don't know, man. It seems like it's the dedication. We just don't have those dedicated individuals today. Back like what the fighters Curtis was just mentioning, they were fighting. In our era, in our modern era, a minimum 4 times a year. They were building a name for themselves. They were creating a demand. They were in our afternoon. They were in our living rooms every Saturday afternoon. So we got to know these fighters, and then when they did put out a big fight, everybody knew what was happening. I had somebody come in here today. I swear to God, they asked me who's the heavyweight champion of the world, and I said, come on, this is somebody who's been following boxing for years, and they had to ask Alexa who it was. And then they started with the WBA and then the Unified. It was crazy. I tried to explain a little bit to them, but like boxing, it's so complicated today. Back in the day, it was just easier to figure out. It was a more fan-friendly sport, and I just think it was we had more exposure. We felt closer to the fighters, and they just had that. They wanted to please us. Sugar Ray Leonard. He had an aggressive streak in his eye. He was the all-American guy, sweet as sugar. But, man, when he hurt somebody in that ring, you just saw that hawk-like look come to his face. And, it was all over. Fists of, blinding speed. But, those are that's the reason I think is what it is. We just don't know these fighters. We haven't accepted them, and I don't think they have that drive to to be accepted. It's so difficult today.
Gotcha. Okay. Same question, please, brother McLean.
We spoke about this underrated numerous times, and I think we just spoke about it earlier on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
How they don't have the fire and desire, and like Bruce Gold says, and I always say it too. The fighters years ago was just different. The fighters from the '80s and '90s, and some of the fighters from the early 2000s, they just had that heart and desire to put in the work. Before in this sport, they fight for money, but you also supposed to fight for legacy, and we don't see a lot of that anymore. These guys now they get to lay around for as long as they want. If they want to fight one time a year, if they want to duck somebody, then they go in their book bag and they go pull out their franchise belt. I mean, years ago we would have never seen anything like this, man. Like it's like I told you, there has to be some penalty for these guys when they're laying around saying, well, I don't want to fight him. I don't want to fight him. I don't want to fight him. I need an easier touch. Well, until I fight him, I'm just gonna have this one fight, and I'll come back next year. Like Bruce said, we used to see guys get it in 3-4 times a year. I remember watching Boxing After Dark, and I felt like I was seeing the same damn fighters come back 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
times the same year. And I'm like, damn, this guy just fought like not that long ago. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we need. We need to bring that back. But to be honest with you, we'll never see that. We won't see that. And it's just sad. I'm still a fan of the sport, but I don't have the love that I had like back in the '90s. I think today is just certain fighters that I like. It keeps me watching the sport, but it's just not like back in the days. We'll never see that, man. And it's sad. It's nothing we can do about it. It's just it's just a part of the sport. But at some point, it needs to change.
Okay, good. I know we talked about this before, Brother Sugar and Brother Bruce Goes and Clarence McClain, but I'm going to bring it up again because there are some people who really don't know. I want you to tell people, Brother Sugar, about the late great Henry Wiley.
Or Harry Wiley Sr.
Yes.
Yeah, Harry Wiley Sr. was my favorite boxing trainer of all time. He was a water boy for Jack Dempsey. He was the first black Olympic coach, brung home 5 or 6 medals. He taught Muhammad Ali everything. It wasn't Angelo Dundee. It was Harry Wiley who taught Ali, how to move in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
The mark of a great trainer when you take a fighter from grassroots and you build him and you teach him, not inheriting a fighter like Freddie Roosevelt Pacquiao. You build him from the amateur days like Harry Wiley did. He taught Sugar Ray Robinson everything. He
Mm-hmm.
trained Joe Louis. He taught Joe Louis some things. He trained Henry Armstrong. Told him how to fight in the inside. And he would have been Ali's trainer until Ali retired, but Harry Wiley died right after the Buster Masters fight. He died 3 weeks later, and then they called Angelo Dundee back, and that's when Angelo Dundee, was in Ali's corner for all the big fights. But
Mm-hmm.
Angelo Dundee left Ali when he fought Jimmy Ellis. He was the trainer and manager for Jimmy Ellis, so it might have been money. And Ali went back to Harry Wiley, but Harry Wiley was the best. I still talk to his son to this day. But
Oh
Harry
yeah.
Wiley,
Okay.
yeah, on
Yeah.
Facebook. But
Yeah.
he was the best trainer because he had the best fighter ever, Sugar Ray Robinson, who he built him up. When he retired, he had him since he was an amateur. And that's the difference with fighters from America than fighters from around the country. Even though they have great fighters too, England and Eastern European and Asia, like Manny Pacquiao, but our trainers are far better than everybody because it's a culture thing. Where when a kid from America goes into a boxing gym, people, he's taught boxing is a two-way street. He must transition from offense to defense. So they'll put a piece of paper in the middle of the ring or a tire, put your foot in that hole in that tire, and you can't move your foot out of that hole. You got to slip punches and parry punches, block punches with your shoulders and elbows. That's the biggest difference we still have in 2021, you know, and like when you look at James Toney, who is trained by Bill Pops Miller, he's from that old school Ezra Charles and Jersey Joe Walcott, that field. But the trainers that we have, how you think Lennox Lewis got better? Who he got? Emmanuel Stewart. How you think Vladimir Klitschko got better? He went to Emmanuel Stewart. Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder because he went to Sugar Hill. So that's proof. Those are receipts. You know, you have great trainers and they dying out. Boots and his father is a good trainer. I interviewed him on my show, Blue Blood, and we was talking about Robert Garcia fighters, how they have a flaw and we see it. Nobody else sees it, but we see it. We see it. All his fighters fight alike. They got slow feet and they can't fight backing up. That's why when Boots knocked out Sergey Limpinets, they were saying how they was going to knock out Boots. But when they saw that fight, nobody did that to Limpinets, not even Mikey Garcia. And Virgil Ortiz backed up. He was like 4 years. We was like 4 years. He said he'll fight Jaron in 4 years because Jaron reminds me of Joe Calzaghe because they got something. Joe Calzaghe was a fighter from England who retired undefeated. Athleticism, upper body movement, ring IQ, and perpetual and rhythmic motion. It's hard to beat fighters who has that. It's hard. That's why he retired undefeated. It's hard. You know, and Jaron has that as well. And wait till we get experience, Crawford and Spence gonna be in trouble. They know he's coming. They know that he's big and he's fast. So, you know, the trainers that we have teaches our fighters to transition from offense to defense, where in Mexico and Eastern European, they're taught strictly offense, but we're taught offense and defense. That's the difference.
Okay, before I get to Bruce, let me ask you this two questions. Then the two questions gonna be to brother Bruce and brother Clarence. Um, is it safe to say, right, that Bruce is still growing into his man's body? Is it safe to say that? Am my assessment is right?
Definitely. When he was at the fight,
Okay.
yeah, you're right. He was at the Tank Davis fight. He looked like he weighed 180, man. He's big. He's big. So I don't think he's gonna be a welterweight for long. He can still make weight, so that means he trains, he stays in the gym. But he could make 160 if he wanted to, but put the weight on gradually. 154, he could probably go to 154 in another year and a half because he just turned 24. So his body is still growing like Tank. You know, that's why Tank got the knockout, because when he fought at 135, he hit Gamboa with a million punches, and Gamboa didn't go anywhere. And then he hit Barrios. Barrios looked like he weighed 160 something, you know, and that fight was big. And Tank, you know, knocked him across the ring. So you got to give your body time so it can get acclimated to the weight. And then you will see, you know, the puncher power. But Boots, man, you know, he's something else. He's one of my favorite fighters, man. So yes, indeed.
Thank you. Same question, brother McLean and brother Bruce.
You know, like Sugar said, the scariest thing about Boots is he's still young. And me and you talked about this before, Underrated, and I said, no disrespect to Crawford, no disrespect to Spence. But if you guys don't get up out of boxing in about next year or two, then guys like Virgil Ortiz and Bruce Ennis are guys you're going to have to worry about. And be honest with you, if I was them, I don't want no parts of neither one of them. I like to fight Crawford and just get up out of there and not run into anybody like a Spence. I mean, not run into anybody like a Virgil Ortiz or Boots. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Gotcha. All right, brother Bruce, please.
As far as as far as Virgil Ortiz goes, or as far as Boots Ennis goes? Because
Both.
Ennis is growing. I mean, they're both growing, and everybody wants to see them fight. And maybe they'll get together at 154 or at 160. Because the thing is, when you're at that age and you're training, your body's going to naturally grow. And you know, underrated, man. That's my thing: nutrition and muscle development. And that's
Yeah.
that's the peak time for growth right there, man. If you're training hard, you're feeding your body properly. You don't want to stop the weight, and you don't want to get excess weight. You have to pick a weight that's just right for you. And if you're dying making 147, then by all means, move up to 154, because that stopping natural muscle growth is not healthy. It's going to zap you of strength. It's going to zap you of energy. So I agree. These guys are growing, and they're like I said, they're growing boys. That's where the old expression comes from, man. They're going to get big. They're training hard. They're not going to get fat, and that's it. You grow into a weight naturally, whether it takes a couple of years. But you can't fight it. You can't stay at certain weights, because I remember Vinny Pazienza. He said he came close to death making 140 pounds when he fought Loreto Garza. He said that's one of the times he saw his maker, and he said it was attributed to he just could not make that weight. And that's what it comes down to. You have to make a weight, and you have to keep it and be able to healthily carry it. So that's where I stand on that.
Oh, okay. This is another question, and I want to talk about places that boxing was very prominent back in the days. Is because me and Sugar did promise each other that we going to talk about he said he want to come back in the future. This is about like a year and a half ago. Talk about in Atlantic City, how special it is. Prince Pierre, thanks for coming. And I want to explain to people. It goes to Brother Bruce and Brother McLean, but we're gonna start from brother Sugar here. Tell the people why Atlantic City was so special in boxing.
Oh man, because it was like a holiday when Mike Tyson fought there, man. It was at its peak, man. We used to go down there, even when we didn't go to the fights. We wanted to go to the parties. People would be on the boardwalk. People would be in the casinos. You could meet fighters and celebrities, man. If that was your thing, it was like a festival because of that fight. The hot rollers came into town, and like I said, there was different parties, it was different functions. That the after party of a fight, Mike Tyson or Arturo Gatti, it was just so many people. That's how boxing was in the '90s, man. The '90s was awesome, man. And even in the '80s, I used to go to Atlantic City, catch the bus down Atlantic City from Newark Penn Station. There's a guy. He was Larry Hazard. He was like a referee, and then he was a boxing commissioner. From Newark. I still see him, when I'm out, but I don't go out often. But we talk about the old days, man. I used to follow this guy down there from Patterson named Rocky Lockridge, who I came up with.
Oh yeah, I remember Rocky Lockridge. He was a lightweight champion, if I'm mistaken, right?
Yeah, yeah, lighter than that, 130 junior lightweight.
Junior lightweight. Okay.
He knocked out Roger Mayweather. He knocked out. No, he lost to Wilfredo Gomez. He had that fight. He let that fight slip away. But and plus he fought at featherweight against Xavier Pedroza. But we used to follow Jersey fighters a lot down there, and Atlantic City was the place, man. And the transportation, New York and New Jersey, is very convenient. Underrated McLean, that. You can get get anywhere from. I didn't like driving. I had a car, but I didn't like driving to Atlantic City. We just took the bus down there. I think the number 7 bus from Newark Penn Station. You got your ticket and you boarded. The bus was comfortable. You used to eat a sub on the bus and be excited going down there to see the fights. And so Atlantic City had a strong tradition, but it was Mike Tyson home and Arturo Gatti's home. But Mike Tyson, when he fought Tyrell Biggs down there, man, that was a great great night. We staying on there like extra 2 nights, especially when you won comps. Like you get free hotel rooms.
Yep.
You had, cause we used to gamble. You had comps to
Yeah.
go to the buffet, the food buffet. What's that hotel that start with a B? They got the best food buffet.
Bally's.
No,
Dallas.
name another one. Start with a
Uh,
B.
Bally's.
Casino. The new
Uh,
one. It start with a B. I forgot, but they got the
I
best,
can't remember. Bally's is
man.
the only one I go to.
Yeah, right. I used to be. I mean, I used to come out there. My stomach looking like Santa Claus, man. I used to, and it was about enjoying yourself. That's what it
and
was about. Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
that's the thing. That's the thing about Atlantic City too. I remember when they tore the old Atlantic City down and they built the new Atlantic City, and that was the only place on the East Coast where you could legally gamble. See, it was Las Vegas, and they tried to turn Atlantic City into that, and they displaced families. I mean, they went right through it. They built these huge casinos. Donald Trump, these 15,000 feet casinos, and Mike Tyson was the star there, man. Mike Tyson fought in Atlantic City. Oh man, it was an event to go there, and they would give out because it was the only place for legalized gambling. They'd give you a bus ride there, and $5 worth of quarters for it was a very reasonable price, and you could jump on there and go down and see where the boardwalk and all the new casinos. And it was an amazing to see the transition from the new Atlantic City. The old Atlantic City to the new Atlantic City. I don't know if you remember that, Curtis, but it was like,
I remember that too.
Like
man,
yesterday. Absolutely.
oh, it was such a transformation of the town itself. They wanted to get the mob out of it. It was a huge thing, man. With corporate America coming in to run the casinos with Donald Trump, man. It was a great time for boxing when they had the Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson fight there. I mean that city was popping.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. McLean. Then after that it's me, and then I'm gonna throw out another question.
For me, coming up, even though I'm young, there's a lot I remember about Atlantic City, and like Bruce and Kurt was saying, Mike, Arturo Gotti, Roy Jones, Floyd, so many guys had performed there. And I remember whenever a Mike Tyson fight came up, my parents had to go. And I always wanted to see Mike. So my father would set my sisters up, and they weren't old enough to get in the casino. So whenever there was a Mike Tyson fight, guess what? We were upstairs in the hotel while my parents would be at the fight. And that didn't sit well with me because I would want to be there. But it's very important. And it's funny that we're talking about this because I just talked about this to Nate Campbell, and me and Nate was talking about it. And I said, Nate, man, it's very important that they bring boxing back to Atlantic City. And he said, I don't understand why they stopped having it. I said, I don't know, maybe politics. I don't know what happened, why they doing it, but it's very important. Atlantic City to us was the baby Las Vegas on the East Coast. If you couldn't get to Vegas, the closest way you can get to Vegas was going to Atlantic City because it was on the East Coast. And it's right next door to us. But it's very important. Rather if it's amateur boxing or professional boxing. If you want to have a good time, you want to get out, you want to party, you want to drink, whatever it is that you want to do, Atlantic City was that spot. And still today it's still a great spot. Staying at the Showboat was always my favorite place to stay every time I went to Atlantic City. We didn't want to stay anywhere else but the Showboat or Bally's. But it's very important, not just to have fun out there. It's very important to boxing. And like I said, Underrated, we talked about this many a times, how important it is for them to bring boxing back to Atlantic City, not just one time a year or another 2 years from now, man. They have to go back and do like they did before, consistent. We need boxing back in Atlantic City, man. And I would love to go out of my way to go from New York to Atlantic City to see a good bout.
Yeah. I remember when I started going to Atlantic City, this is my pre-teens, and I was seeing like fighters actually walk on the boardwalk. And I noticed that, but Kurt, Sugar, you know what I'm talking about. every casino has a fight. In the undercard, we never talk really about the undercard. The undercards was like championship matches too. And then I missed that because I remember like me born and raised in Brooklyn. Excuse me. Take the train to Port Authority. And the only bus you got that time, I'm just saying at that time you get it, is the Academy bus. That's the only bus that would take you there. Let's say it's a Academy bus, and they even have deals in there. And you can go to this casino, that casino. But my favorite casino is Tropicana. That place to me, I love Tropicana because I ain't gonna lie. When I used to like gamble a little bit, I used to come in, but it was so nice and everything. And I said to myself that if I ever come in with some great money, I'm talking about great money, and I think one of the first investments I would do, I will invest in Atlantic City. I will make sure that East Casino had every fights in there. Make sure they be working years around, all year round. Make sure they had the best people running and stuff because Atlantic City needs to come back. It's like when Atlantic City left, you know what I'm saying, y'all. It's like part of boxing left. It's like part of the era left. It's like part of the culture was left. You know? And I miss that. I'm telling you, I'm 55 years old, but I feel like a little kid again. You know, I miss that. They need to bring it back.
JMJ's asking a question in the chat. Didn't they have wrestling in Atlantic City? Underrated doctors. Yeah, they had WrestleMania there at the Trump Taj Mahal.
Yeah, they had wrestling.
It was huge.
Very huge, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. What's that casino that starts with a B, not Bally's? I'm trying to. It's wrecking my brain, man. But they food is so good, man.
It's still there. It's still there.
I believe so. Yeah, it was very popular. Their buffet. They was known for their food buffet.
I don't know. They have so many hotels out there. I can't even think of what you're talking about.
Not the Bellagio, Kurt. Is that what you're thinking of?
It might be the Bellagio.
I didn't get it. You mean the one? Was it in the outskirts? It was in last. It was in the outskirts.
No, it was on the strip. It was on the strip.
Oh, it was on the strip. It was on the strip. Okay, let me see.
I'll think about it. I'll think of it.
I remember the food used to be good back in the day too. Was the Sands? They not there.
Bally's? No, we already said that.
It wasn't. But you always say Bally's. No, it wasn't.
Yeah. I always think Bally's in Atlantic City, but man, yeah, they had that was like a tremendous area for fights, and they were competing with Las Vegas for fights. It was either in Atlantic City or Las Vegas. You know, there was huge competition there. You know, especially because Lou Duval was based right there in New Jersey. He could fill cards up, man. It was a great time to be a boxing fan, man. Every weekend, is it going to be from Atlantic City or is it going to be from Las Vegas? And it didn't matter because they were feeding us the prime filet mignon back then for free.
I got it. I'm sorry, Bruce. I got it. The Borgata.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Borgata, right?
I used to go there and get them food vouchers and sit up there and eat like it ain't no tomorrow, and then go in my hotel room and sleep because I had nice rooms, man. Rather if I was comp, but not then I go on the boardwalk because you had this old authentic sports store that had great boxing memorabilia, and then they used to say, "Oh, they knew me by first name because I used to buy my T-shirts there." And they'd be like, "We got a great Harry Grab T-shirt for you, Kurt." And I'd be like, "Got my size? I'm a big dude. I'm like 6'3", 6'4". At that time, I was like 240. Cut. Now I'm 270, but that was a long time ago. But anyway,
I know that feeling.
A long time ago, I was in my physical prime then, but it was like a festival. It was more than the fight. Cause my friends be like, "Hey, we didn't have tickets to the fight, and we'd be like, hey man, we should go down to Atlantic City, man. We got comps, and be like, we'll just hang out on the boardwalk, and there'd be a lot of beautiful women there, man. Cause boxing always attracts seedy characters. Always. That's been going on since the 20s. The
Yeah, yeah.
speakeasies and all that. They always attracted seedy, like you see the pimps and you know you be gambling, right? And if you win out of nowhere, you could see a beautiful woman, 5'11", and she'll grab you by the arm. That meant if you wanted to play, I can only talk careful on the stream because I
Right.
respect.
We know. Yeah. We know.
Yeah.
But and because they watching you, they was taught by the pimp that hey, you work it called work in the room. You work the room, and you see any guy winning, they'd be like, you want a friend or you want a date, and whenever and that was it. They ask you, are you staying here for the weekend? That was, man. I'm telling you, man. I loved it. I miss it. I miss the '80s, the '90s so much, man.
Yeah.
So much. The music was great. The boxing was great.
Yeah.
Living life, but you know what they say? Nothing lasts forever. Only death in Texas.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go more on this, and then we gonna continue. I remember a few times we used to go like 80s and 90s. You got to get there early because if you get there like somewhere in the nighttime, it be so. I'm talking about the ball up be so crowded, especially
Mhm.
fight night. You lucky to walk up the ramp or either the casinos. But at the same time, you don't mind because you're around greatness, and oh man, I miss those times. It used to be. I mean, one time I went there by myself. I went there like it was a little after my father passed. It's like a few months later. My father passed March in '89, and I went there like a little after my birthday, like mid-June 2000. And I said, let me go out there, and that's when y'all talking about Tyson and other fighters right there. And I got my ticket and out there, and I was like, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna tell you, it was groups. I'm telling you, it was buses, 4 academy buses. So the guy, he said, hey man, if you could wait like another hour, you look like you be the only one. What? He said, yeah. So he said, what you want to stay? I said, ah. So that's what he's talking about, the Tropicana. I said, yeah, let me stay at the Tropicana and stuff. I hook you up and everything. And I went there and we drove, man. And I was the only one, but I never forget his name is Chuck. And we went there, he took me there, and I'm talking about it was packed. I'm talking it was women. Oh, it was so much. I was like, wow. And then I went to my room and I came out there. And I was supposed to want to stay overnight, but I ended up staying like 4 days. And it was magical, man. It was so magical.
Yep.
People got along. They talking about boxing. Yo, you see the undercard? Do you see that? And it was like, and then sometimes he could tell you too. Sometimes there's some casinos, they let you go in for free and check out the undercard, but the championship
Right.
fight, you gotta leave. You hear what I'm
Right.
saying? But
Yep.
you gotta be around to know about that. I used to go hop, 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 hop. And it was like a graduate. I said, wow. I used to watch like Simon Bryan used to fight Atlantic City. There was quite a few Philadelphia fighters for Atlantic City. And they end up become champions. And it was so fun and everything. And I was like, I ain't mean keep on going overboard over this, but it was a great time for boxing as a whole, man. And I want Atlantic City to come back because it's not right. You know what I mean? No,
But you know what though? Underrated. Real quick, or I pass it. Sometimes, man, things ain't gonna never come back. Just think about all the music, soft rock,
Yeah.
R&B, hip hop, how great music was.
Yeah.
And it's like when music was great, boxing was great. It mirrored each other.
Yeah.
And those days that we experienced are gone, and they ain't never coming back.
Yeah.
And because the boxing fan is different these days, it's
Yeah.
it's the climate is different, and the people who love boxing are different. The fan is different. It's a different kettle of fish, and them days are gone, man. And they ain't never coming back, sadly.
Yeah, and to add to that, Kirk, too, it's just like, I don't know if this makes sense to y'all, but it's just like family. How you say, man, I wish my family could do this. I wish you can go back to the old days. Sometimes it's just not going to do it. It's over. You know, sometimes things will never go back to the way it's supposed to be, and that's just how it is. It's a part of life.
Yeah, but you know what the thing was, man. I love having these talks because we bring those days alive again, and that's kind of our job, to I don't want to say educate, but to share what we have, with this next generation. And maybe they'll catch on and they can go back into YouTube and they can catch these fights and they'll be like, "Wow, look at these guys! Look at the face on Aaron Pryor when he was tearing into Alexis Aguayo. You just don't see looks like that anymore." And and we were there, man. We saw those fights. We saw the build up to them. We saw the crowd. It's just that, when we can come on here and talk. I hate to be the guy, but I get very excited, coming on these panels. I mean, Curtis, I was on one the other night. Somebody sent me an invite, and Jerry Cooney was on there, and Tommy Bell, the legendary trainer. Man,
Really?
oh yeah, yeah, man. It was on. Jerry Cooney was just like you said he was, the most friendly guy. So open mind, and he wants to get on panels. He wants to talk about boxing. He's married with 3 kids now. He's been sober for 30 years. Oh,
That's
man.
good.
Dude, nicest guy. And Tommy Bell, man, he's a legend. You look at his resume. I think there's more fighters that he has trained than he hasn't trained. And I got to sit on there and ask him some questions. And that's what I love about this. Well, we have this knowledge, and people can ask us questions, and we can share, and yet we can still learn from these greats. People like Jerry Cooney, and I see him, man. Junior Jones and Charles Brewer. I mean, these guys that we used to watch, and they're coming back, and they're sharp, they're articulate, man. It's just great listening to them. And and Undergraded, you're bringing it back over here, man. You're getting me all high today, and into the boxing that I love, man. And Curtis and Clarence, bro, man. I thank you guys, man.
You're welcome. And then let me bring this up on Kurt. Michael Cullum, Junior Jackson, Clarence has surprised me because he went out to Florida Hall of Fame about a few weeks ago. And guess who he brought to the panel, bro? Nate Campbell.
Yeah.
The Galaxy Warrior. Yeah.
Shout out my brother Nate, who's
Shout out. Yeah.
If you never, not for anybody on here, but if for the fans and for the people who want to know, that's probably one of the most humblest brothers I've ever been around. But at the same time, he's going to be brutally honest with you. He's a guy who does not sugarcoat anything. Mm-hmm. And if you ever ask for his opinion on something, like I said, he's going to tell you what it is, whether you like it or not. But he's one of the greatest guys I've ever been around. Great guy, man. Real good dude.
Yeah, and be expected that I will do a chop up with him. I already talked to him. So I'm going to do a chop up with him very soon on this channel. So watch out for it. We just got to touch base on the time.
Yeah, Nick's my brother, man. Him and I are trying to figure out how to get 3,000 jazz albums from me to him. You'd be surprised what a project that is, how much that weighs and the volume it takes up. That's a pallet, basically. But Nate and I have been talking about that back and forth. If he's got somebody that's passing through the area, or some way. But this is something that I have, and I just really I'm trying to thin my herd out a little bit. So I think I didn't mention that to Curtis before, but it's funny you mentioned Nate because Nate's interested in him, and we talked a little bit about it, and I think the price was over $1,000 to ship him there, so that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really is, and then go more on Clarence when him and his wife went to Florida Box Hall of Fame. Kurt, brother Sugar and brother Bruce. This brother McClain right here, he had dinner with Big Daddy. I see pictures.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah,
Riddick Bowe, yeah.
Wow.
Funny as hell, man. I didn't expect to be sitting and having dinner with Riddick Bowe. That was like I looked at my wife. I said, I need you to slap me, and she said, for what? I said, this got to be a dream. I said, I'm sitting next to Riddick Bowe, and I'm conversating with him. I said, listen, this got to be a dream. And you know what I was taught being involved with boxing? Any place that God puts you in, it's not by accident. You are meant to be there. You're supposed to be there. If not, then you wouldn't be in that position. Somebody else would be sitting in your seat. So just to be involved in the sport of boxing, man, it's beautiful. And I want to tell anybody, any child who wants to be in boxing, if you don't have to get hit, then don't get hit. There's other ways to be involved in boxing. You could be a photographer, you could be a referee, you could be a judge, or you can get on here doing what we do. But if you have a dream to be in boxing, I don't care what it is that you want to do, never give up on it. Continue to do it. Like me and Underrated, we get on here, we do these videos. A lot of people don't agree with what we say. Some people say we don't know what we're talking about, but it's okay. We not going to grind, don't stop. We get on here, we do what we do. So just remember this. God never puts you somewhere where you're not supposed to be. So,
I was so grateful. I personally, I was thankful to see Riddick Bowe better than he was a few years ago, because I saw him when he had that first talk with Evander Holyfield. I think he was close to 400 pounds. I mean, he was in bad shape, but man, he lost the weight. He got himself together, and it's just such a good feeling to see that happen, because I rode with Riddick Bowe since the since the Olympics back in the 80s, man. Riddick Bowe is so much talent, and a witty guy, and it was talent that was wasted at the end, with what he did. But I love seeing him come back, man. I hate to see him get in the ring and do an exhibition, and I wish there was a place where boxers like Riddick Bowe could go and have no worries in the world. But unfortunately, he's talking about doing an exhibition, and man, it is what it is. But God bless Riddick Bowe.
Yeah, but this I want. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, Bruce and Sugar, this is without, I was talking to Underrated, that me and my wife are trying to come up with something now for retired fighters. It's something that I've been working on for the last couple of months. I haven't finished it, but it's just something where the income could be a little better than what it is. I'm working on something. Me and my wife, we got something cooking for a lot of these retired fighters that's less fortunate. So just be on the lookout for it, because when it happens, it's going to be something big. Maybe by the end of this year, early next year, it'll be completed.
Okay, Mr. All right, Mr. Before I ask the question, Mr. Pigeon, if you want to get on, you be good. But I'm gonna give out. Hold on, let me bring up an email. I'm just saying, be respectful. That's all I'm gonna let you know. Be respectful.
I saw Mr. Pigeon, my friend Phil, on an earlier show. I don't know if he's you be the judge.
Well, Underrated. Let me explain something. I don't want to keep cutting you off. We are all grown men, right? There's no reason why you should have to tell another grown man to be respectful. If a man doesn't know how to be respectful already, don't bring him on. These are not third graders. We're not going to keep repeating ourselves and telling another grown man to be respectful. If you can't know to be respectful already, you don't need to be on here.
No, I have to operate like that. I understand what you're saying. I give you something, but I have to operate like that. So, Mr. Pill, I'm going to think about it. But I'm going to let me That's what I'm going to say. Now let's get back to Harry Wiley Sr. And we're gonna go throw that brother Bruce, brother McClain, and the Sugar yourself. Why he's not in the Hall of Fame despite all the credentials that he has? Why is like a certain stubbornness that he's not in the Hall of Fame for all these years? Bruce?
I have no clue.
Okay. You, Clarence?
I'm like Bruce.
You cool? Okay. All right. The Sugar.
Well, it's politics. It's mainly he's underappreciated. he kind of, they only hardcore people know who he is. When you mention great trainers, his name don't come up. It's the popular trainers, Angelo Dundee and Manuel Stewart, Eddie Futch,
Fudge.
but he was so long ago, his name gets lost in the sauce. Remember, Sylvester Stallone is in the Hall of Fame, and it was a fictional character.
Right.
That just goes to show you,
Yeah.
how twisted things are, man. This man is very underappreciated, his accomplishments. But you see, fighters and trainers so long ago they get lost. Listen, me and Scrapbook, and you can go to his channel. We did a special project called "The 150 Greatest Black Fighters in the Last 100 Years." The reason we did the project is because a lot of those fighters people never heard of. We know about the
Right.
Joe Lewis's but
Hmm.
it's a lot of fighters that you just don't know. Like Frank Childs, he held the color heavyweight championship, and he was the first man to unify the title and stuff. So we did our history, and we took it back, and a lot of fighters don't get love. I don't care what they look like, what color. A lot of them, because people don't do their history. We in America, we don't respect history. We don't. I look at movies from the '70s like Marathon Man and French Connection. I have an old soul and an old spirit, and I listen to soundtracks. Trouble Man by Marvin Gaye, and soft rock. Like one of the songs by Supertramp, I don't know, you guys know it, called "The Logical Song." So
Yeah.
logical, yeah, classic. That reminds
That's
me
it.
of growing up, and that's where I'm at. That's where my blood lies. And Harry Wiley just suffers from people forgetting about him. Most of them guys is becoming a footnote because we have a show that we talk about the forgotten fighters on Three Wise Men of Boxing. You will never hear these names again. Every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, me, Stormy, and Scrapbook. But we cut from that old school, you know, uh, era. But it's sad. It's sad. He belongs in the Hall of Fame because he was a great trainer, like Bowie Fischer. Bowie Fischer died. That's the guy who taught Bernard Hopkins, and he used to wear a scarf. That scarf was given to him by Sugar Ray Robinson, who he was good friends with. See, that's those old school trainers that are dying now. They were masters at perfecting the fighter's skill.
Yeah. And also, let me say, they be saying this. Now, Kurt, I know, Kurt, you going to like this, another one. On my thumbnail, I put on the thumbnail. If y'all see it, y'all know who that is? I tell y'all, the late, great Sandy Sadler.
Absolutely. 103 knockouts in 13 years. Don't you know that Grandmaster Flash is his nephew? A lot of people don't know that.
Oh
Yes, it
wow,
is. It is. Great, great nephew.
wow.
Yeah, and people don't know Dick Sadler used to train George Foreman. That was his brother, wasn't it, Curtis?
Yep.
Yep,
That's true.
exactly. And then a lot of people don't understand 103 knockouts, I think, in 9 years. And you know why he retired, y'all? And Kurt, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Because of an eye injury. If he would not have an eye injury, ain't but, we always we talk about, the late great Archie Moore. He had over 140 some knockouts. I'm telling you, Sandy Sadler, very underrated. He was he was a featherweight and super featherweight. Very skilled, could punch. He's one of the few that beat Willie Pep. You know what I mean? So nobody don't talk about him.
And that's what I mean. These fighters get lost in the sauce. Willie Pep was 134-1 in his prime. He
Yup.
had problems getting past Sandy Sadler, who he beat multiple times. Sandy Sadler was a tall featherweight that can punch through brick walls. He punched like Tank Davis, man. Probably harder, pound for pound, but boxing history is an acquired taste. You could tell people, you go on YouTube and look up this stuff. A lot of people don't want to. They like not to. You can't force people to look at stuff. You can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. And that's boxing history, man. It has so much history.
Mhm.
Going back to the 1800s, man, it's ridiculous. All the great fights and fighters, Jack Dempsey and Gene
Mhm.
Tunney, and I can go on and on. But that's people though. People, America culture is what's new, out with the old and with the new. That's American culture.
Yeah, and also we got the late great Harry Armstrong. A lot of people don't know he almost was a four championship. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people said that he beat the middleweight. I forgot the name of it. And also in his career, he had 101 knockouts.
Yeah, that was Seferino Garcia, middleweight. And he could have held 4 titles. They called it a draw, but he really won. And it was politics, though. And
Hmm.
Henry Armstrong dated Dorothy Dandridge, Josephine
Hmm.
Baker, and Lena Horne.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah, Henry
also
was
and he
dumb.
also bypassed the junior lightweight and the junior welterweight titles. Just went for the major belts.
Yeah.
So he would have been a five belt first fighter in history to hold 5 world championships just if he had just taken those junior titles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
he won the welterweight title only weighing 133 pounds.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But see, these are the talks that we should have sometimes. But it's like a drag. I mean, one time, one of my boxing when I first started my boxing on platform last year, I try to have some type those things. Me and Kirk, we was talking about in the past on my channel, and it seemed like people was like, just why are you talking about that? Because that's part of history, Jay. You know.
Well,
You never
well,
forget history, though. Never.
well, underrated. The thing about it, why it's such an honor and pleasure for me to be on here with all you guys. Me being the youngest one out the crew, I'm only 38 years old. So me getting to sit here and listen to all you guys when you speak, it helps me to learn more and more. Um, Forget just learning just about the sport too, but just learning the history because it's more than just knowing a fighter's name and their record. You got to learn the history or what they went through, their roots and all that. So to be able to have 3 older brothers like y'all that I could sit down and chop it with, and I could go back to people, talk to people my age and younger who don't know a lot of stuff about it. It's an honor and pleasure. So I would like to take the time to thank all 3 of y'all. For teaching me some things that I thought I might have knew.
Yeah, but let me tell you this though, and then I'm gonna give my roses to you, brother Sugar. When I started talking about boxing, like maybe about 3 years ago, Kirk, I said Malik Omar and Sonny Boston talking. There's 2 others, and Muhammad's the one. The late Muhammad's the one. I mean, I'm letting you know, Bruce and Clarence. They was the ones like pushing me to talk about sport. I mean, talk about boxing again because nobody was not trying to hear me at the time, even to this day. And then and they said we're going to support you. And I think this about the 6th or 7th time that Kurt has been on this platform, been on this channel. I could pull up. I could pull up. We had classes on there. You know what I'm saying, Kurt? You know what I'm talking about. I got classes on here with Kurt talk about boxing. We all talk about boxing, and I just want to let you know, brother. Thank you so much. To help me to understand that I do have some degrees and know about boxing and talk to the pureness of it and everything. And I really appreciate that. I thank you for that.
Oh, definitely. Anytime, man. It's been a while since I've been on, but I try to support, man, good boxing talk. I don't be on everybody's channel because some
Hmm.
of it is rubbish and tabloidish. But the
Hmm.
channels that talk about boxing and that's, that have professionalism, those are the channels that I like being on, man. I don't care if it's thousands of people in the room or 10 or 15. It's the integrity. I owe boxing because it's giving me so much joy. So that's why I be on, man. I'm on the channel where we have 1,500 people a day. Um, but it doesn't, I'm grateful. But like I said, the channel has to be great, to be on, because I like talking boxing when the channel and the conversation has good content. That's the only thing that I think they worry about. That's it, man. And I'm not arrogant with my knowledge. I like talking boxing. I learn new things every day from everybody. That's you know a lot. Well, people think like, how do you know so much? The secret is you never stop learning. And when somebody says something, they can be a beginner. You take that into account. You never stop learning. Your mind's supposed to be a sponge and supposed to absorb knowledge. So that's the secret.
Yeah, I just want to let you know I appreciate it. Thank you so much that keep on blessing me, come in, and we're gonna talk about different things. I'm gonna ask you one more question. We're gonna start from Bruce, um, Brother McLean, and Brother Sugar. What's the status of boxing now?
The status of boxing now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just want to explain a little something here, man. I was I was totally immersed in boxing from the mid '70s until the mid '90s. I mean, there couldn't be an edition of Ring Magazine, of Knockout, Boxing Illustrated, whatever it was. Every fight that was on, every division I could name you, from heavyweights to flyweights. But then I got involved in a business and I got away from boxing for about 20 years. I was still watching it now. I was still catching all the big fights, but I wasn't involved in it like I was back then, where people would ask me, who was it? What's the best fighter to take? But anyway, just getting back to this again here. I've been re-educated. It's like a newbie coming back again, and I'm getting re-educated on some of the action that I missed. The Floyd era. I was there and I was watching it, but I'm getting the backside that I'm getting right now. And a lot of this new stuff that's coming on, a lot of these new fighters I'm not familiar with. I've never even heard of them, but it's great to come on here and real boxing people like yourselves who know what's happening today, like Clarence, man. You're the future of boxing, bro. This is what I don't have. I have the past knowledge. I have some what I used to dig, but now the recent stuff, man. I'm a newbie at that, and I just want to thank you for turning me on to these new fighters. Who to watch, who's coming out of the amateurs, and to me that's the direction that I'd like to see boxing going in. I don't know if it's going in that direction. To answer your question, it seems like it's all over the place. We're having titles divided. It seems like almost monthly they're coming out with a junior, a silver, a bronze, whatever it may be. And it's just confusing. It's confusing for the fans. And like I mentioned earlier, the brother that came up here and asked me who the heavyweight champion was, and that's not unusual. I bet if we walked down the street and asked 100 people, there'd only be about maybe, luckily, 10 of them that could answer the question, because the direction that boxing is going today is the wrong direction. They're just not promoting it like they should. It's not the friendly, happy sport that it used to be. There's diversion amongst your opinions, and to me, it's just the future of boxing has to go back to the past of boxing to get better. And I hope it does in my lifetime, because to me, the future looks pretty bleak from where I'm sitting. There's great fights around, but the attitude just isn't there.
Got you. Okay, Brother McLean, please.
If you would have asked me this question last year, I probably would have told you it was going nowhere because it was at a standstill, due to the COVID. The jury is still out on where's boxing today, because, like Bruce just said, with these franchise belts and all these fighters ducking real competition. And me and you just talked about this earlier too, about that Underrated. Everybody ducking everybody. As far as what boxing is today, like Bruce said, I mean, it could never go back to where it used to be. We would love for that to happen, but we know that's not going to happen. So we just have to deal with what's going on today and hope at some point down the line that it would just change. It could give us just a little bit of what we used to have back in the days. But we have the wrong people involved in boxing. We have these promoters that don't give a damn about the fighters. We got the fighters trying to tell the trainers how to train them. You know, when back in the days you had to listen to your trainer because your trainer is the one that got you the way you needed to be, even though you were the one in there taking the punches. So, you know, when we can go back to all that, then maybe we can come back and be like, well, what's the status on boxing today? But right now, I don't know. The jury is still out on that one.
Okay. Same question, Brother Sugar.
Yeah, it's I mean, I like the fights that we had in coming. We got two super bouts on pay-per-view with Pacquiao and Spence and Fury and Wilder. That I like. Boxing was different because you always had the super fight. And we got two big fights. Charlo Castano is a good fight. So and the undercards is good too. So the next 2 months is going to be good boxing. But the golden age we come from would never be the same. But I'm not going to sit here and be the old dude who has sour grapes. I'm just going to say, I just going to enjoy the fights. And it's just like I said, it's just like music. If you don't listen to classic music, your ears will start bleeding because the music is so bad. But and I feel the same way about boxing. Boxing, you got some good fights coming up. I heard Estrada and Chocolatito going to fight for a third time. That's in the fall. Fulton and Brandon Figueroa, that's a good fight. Tank and Barrios was a good fight. So we've been having good fights and a lot of fights, but that was a golden era where we came from. We talked about Atlantic City and stuff, but boxing just has to keep doing what it's doing, put on good fights, and maybe there'll be a guy like a popularity of a Tyson or somebody like that could come and captures the public imagination. There's always that one fighter who'll become a star you didn't expect. But that's all I have to say. I gotta
Okay,
take
last
off Underrated
all right,
because
all right.
my phone is dying.
Okay, last one more, Queens. Quick. Last one more, quick.
Oh, thank you for inviting me on, man. I appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure. I love talking boxing. Mr. McClain, salute. Bruce, always my brother. Salute. Underrated Darkest. We're gonna talk about some music next Monday. I gotta talk to Stormy to set up a time. Then I'll shoot you a text. I want you to join me on the panel. It's just gonna be me and you. We could talk about some music and Beats by Sugar. So I appreciate it. Salute to the chat. And we just here talking about this boxing thing, man.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you. The sugar in the house. Thank you so much.
No
Appreciate
problem.
that.
Salute, fellas.
God
Salute,
bless my
salute.
brother.
Okay, thank you. All right. Last remarks, Brother Bruce. I want you to stay right there. And Clarence McClain, last remarks after that, last remarks from you. And I want y'all to wait for me and wait my do my last remark, then we go close it out as a family.
You there, Bruce?
Yeah, okay. I thought Clarence was going to go, but I'll
No.
go.
You go.
Okay, man. Underrated, man. It's always a pleasure to come on here. I appreciate the fact that you send me links all the time, man. Sometimes I can get on, sometimes I can't. But man, but it's so solid that you accept me on here, Clarence, bro. Like I said, man, you're the future of boxing. You're hooking up with the past of boxing. It's a beautiful thing, man. Anybody wants to see me, you can catch me out with Fourth Quarter Fitness. I do a show with Big Dookie. We're getting back into keeping us healthy again. We're not as young as we used to be, man. And we're just trying to hang on. And I appreciate everything Underrated. So I'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. All right, Mr. McClain.
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to Coach Sugar for coming on here. Bruce Gold, my brothers, I love y'all. Underrated, thanks for always having me on here. It's great to sit back and talk some knowledge. Talking about this whole Atlantic City thing, I'm not gonna lie. I'm about to go in the room and ask my wife if she want to go. We done talked about it so much. And it just feels good to get on here with some older brothers, and I can learn something. You know what I mean? Because learning from older people and learning from people who's been there before you is always the best, man. But I just want to say salute to the chat, salute to the panel, man, and anybody who wants to follow me, you know, I'm on IG. Follow me, McLean Clarence on Facebook, Clarence McLean, and type in McLean's Promotion. That's you know, another platform that I have, and I have the No Doug Zone podcast, who's is getting ready to hit YouTube. I'm putting the finishing touches on that, and be on the lookout for that. Hopefully by the end of this month.
All right, thank you. Stay right there. Anybody that wants to donate, my cash app is $capital JT 53000. Also, I have PayPal. It's paypal.me / all in caps JT Black 53. If you want to donate, that'd be greatly appreciated. Please hit the like button and share this out. If you want to subscribe, hit the bell twice. So in case you want to get on, you be the first one to have it. This is the last of the. Let me. I'm sorry. Anybody that is traveling, make sure you're traveling safely. You know, if you're traveling groups, that's more the better to your destination or home. But if not, you try by yourself. Please take extra precaution also to your destination or home, because we don't want nothing to happen to y'all. And plus, so please be safe out there, and because we know the climate is out there, it's crazy as ever. So this is the ending of the Underrated Boxing Talk number 34. Until next time, have a good day. This one is Ghost.
Peace.